Welcome, everyone, to episode 13 of the most interesting people in logistics. Today's guest is Boris Panov. Boris is from Macedonia, and he works in the U.S. market. Boris, thank you so much for taking the time to be on today's show.
Thank you very much for the invite, Paul. It's really a pleasure to be here. So.
Definitely. Boris, I just want you to kind of give us an introduction of who you are and what you do in Macedonia. You also have a large following on LinkedIn. You're very popular on LinkedIn, and you've been on FreightWaves. So if you could just tell us, about yourself and how you got into logistics.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Paul. As you mentioned, my name is Boris. I work for a company named Superior Dispatch Service based out in Stip, Macedonia. And my title is load planner and logistic manager. I kind of supervise and manage a group of people who dispatch and managing trucks over the road in America, for sure.
Yeah. So how did you get into logistics? I know we talked earlier, and you said that there's probably like 100 dispatch offices in Macedonia. So it is a popular job. But how did you get into the logistics, and when did you start?
That's a really interesting question because it's kind of really have a great background. So, I was laying down in my bed, and as I mentioned you previously, I was in the music industry. And one of the owners, was driving a truck, and he started a business, but we haven't talked like maybe for 2-3 years. And he was kind of giving me a call, and okay, Boris, how you doing? How is life going? And I'm starting a business, and I want to offer you something. And I'm like, okay, I want to listen. And I hear it was sounding so complicated, and I was like, okay, man, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I never ever touched nothing by a city in my life. And he was like, okay, do you think that I was born knowing how to do it? I started driving, then we moved in the office, then we start building something, and I want to give you the opportunity. And I'm like, okay, I need to think about it. And like 4 or 5 days after, I give him a call back, and I'm like, okay, I want to try. And that's how everything started. I get in the office, I hear so much unrecognized speeches that I never heard before, and I'm like, oh man, what you got into it, So this is so complicated, it's not for you. But how time was passing and how I was getting trained, I got so much involved and deep in it, and it's kind of become my lifestyle. It's not my job, So
Sure, definitely. And I'm just curious, just so like the American viewer could understand, could you give us maybe a breakdown of how much like an average person in Macedonia works or makes another, like what's the average salary? And then what's like the average salary in logistics? Could you give us that kind of breakdown?
I mean, yeah, I'm going to try because you've been in logistics, and that's not like something that it's steady. It depends on your performance. So I can tell you from our company view, we want to give the people as much as they want. It's how much they can imagine in their head. They can make it in Superior Dispatch Service. That's what makes us special as a company. I have no idea how it works in the other companies. I never been with other company, but over here we want to give the people opportunity to make how much money as they want. So we're always open. Logistics has no limits, and you can always find a way to kind of make extra benefit for yourself. So I don't know the average salary. Sometimes people make less, sometimes they make a lot more. There is a lot of difference from the average salaries that the people work the other jobs. But with the numbers, even if I tell you number, it's not going to be true because it always gets changed. So it depends on the performance.
Okay, but what's the average salary in general in Macedonia per month? Like, what is an average? Not including logistics.
Macedonia, it's kind of really hard to describe the precise number because there is really low people that are in the middle class. So there is always a lower class and like the bigger class. So the middle class people are not over here. So if you count the average of the income, you need to compare it like with $200 salary and $2,000 salary. And if you get the average, it's not kind of real number that you get, So, but overall, with the lows, maybe it's like in American dollars, like $400, I think is the average salary on Macedonian employee.
Yeah. So like it's to work in logistics, American logistics is a very attractive and potentially very lucrative job for someone from Macedonia. And so there's definitely a lot of people that are willing to work. You have to know English. You have to be working American hours, which could be difficult when you have a family, right? Because what are your hours of work?
Yeah, I check in like 1 o'clock our time, 1 p.m. I started at 1:20, 1:30 maybe, and I need to stop like around 11 p.m., but that never happens, you know. So every
Sure.
time, in last minute, some problems came up, so you need to get a result. So I get it home like maybe sometime before midnight. So
Yeah.
that's Monday
Okay.
to Friday. Yeah, and
Yeah.
over the weekends I'm available just remotely, you know, on my phone.
Sure. Sure. So I mean, it's
But
yeah. Go for it.
yeah, but we got also like different shifts, you know, so we offer 24 hours coverage as a company. So we got also shifts that people start working at 6 a.m. in the morning, they finish their job at 1 o'clock. We got another one that's a night shift our time, which starts like 11 p.m. and then that's early in the morning, like 5, 6. So, you know, but mostly the American working hours and most of the people that work here are 1:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know like the Balkan area in general, like just Serbia, you have what, Bosnia, there's what other countries? Montenegro,
Yeah,
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
There's a lot of dispatching offices out there. A ton, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're growing up. Every day I just see on the social media, okay, somebody's opening up a office over here, somebody's opening up an office over there, somebody's starting like only with dispatch, and other guys are starting doing it with the brokerage departments and all that stuff. So it's becoming like really huge in like for the last 2, 3 years. As you mentioned at the beginning, you know, when I started, there were like 2 companies and I didn't even have people to speak for advices because there were nobody was doing it. You know, I was communicating with people outsourced, like in America, who are doing it and kind of give me advice. What do you think? Is it okay for me or not? So, and now every third person you see, it's kind of selling freight or dispatching trucks or working it with hours of service or in any different field. So it's kind of interesting, but it helps us as a country to grow up the economy, you know. So people, if they see opportunity to work for a company that can make money without a limit, nobody's going to accept to work for $200 the whole month, you know. So
100%.
that's something that is positive over here.
So you said when you started there was 2 or 3 offices in Macedonia. Currently there's closer to 100. When did you start, Boris? How long ago? How many years ago?
Like 4.5 years. I first jumped in. It was at the end of 2017, like maybe September, end of September.
Okay.
I jumped into the office for the first time. Yeah.
Okay. And I know you have a very large presence on LinkedIn. You utilize LinkedIn to grow your network. You've been on Freight Waves, talked to Dooner, so talked to Michael Clemens. So could you tell us about your experience on LinkedIn? Why did you decide to go on LinkedIn and what are the benefits of utilizing it?
I mean, that's also another interesting topic, how I started on LinkedIn. You know, it was my wife.
Okay.
It's her fault. It's her fault. So she
It's
was
her
wanted
fault?
to.
You gotta thank her.
Yeah. I thank her every day, man. So, you know, she wanted to start doing something on Upwork, if you know the freelance application.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And she asked me to build her a profile and I started it. And there was like a LinkedIn account required to build the Upwork application. And I started with her information and she kind of changed her mind. Okay, this is not for me. And okay, let me try to do it. And I launched it. And at the beginning, I didn't took it seriously. You know, I just opened it up maybe once or twice per week. And that's all. I never clicked to connect with anybody. And, you know, when I realized it's totally different from like a Facebook or Instagram, you know, you can target what you want to read. You know, it's so different from Facebook or Instagram because over there, even the information you don't want to hear or read, it can pop up. And over here, you just select the audience or you select the people you want to follow and you just get informed what you have interest in. And that's how I started to building it. And I tried to build myself, let's say, professionally. You know, I wanted to wear a suit and I'm going to tell my numbers, how much I made it. And then I realized that's not me. That's not who I really am. You know, and like the first meme I ever posted, I got the feedback from one of the owners of Superior Dispatch Service. You know, there was like, when the pandemic hit, Paul, you know, there was really dry with freight. And
totally.
And we had a customer that we were delivering loads in Massachusetts. And, you know, we got 3 trucks in Massachusetts and the people are kind of telling me, Boris, I need your help. There is no freight in Massachusetts. And I'm like, okay, you search for an hour more. And if you don't find anything, I'm going to call my guys and they're going to find me loads. And, I called my guys and they said there is no loads. And I got 3 trucks empty in Massachusetts. And I kind of built a meme with the frog who want to do a suicide. And there was like saying 3 trucks in Massachusetts, 5 loads posted. And one of the owners like just replying me back, Boris, do you believe you made my day with the meme because it was so funny? And that's when I realized, okay, you might try to do this kind of content, share it and see the feedback. And I mean, so far it's a great feedback, so.
Yeah, totally. No, it's always nice to have some kind of humor, especially in logistics when you're dealing with a stressful environment like you were dealing with 3 empty trucks in Massachusetts. I mean, it's amazing what you've done on LinkedIn, because right now you're over 16,000 followers.
I don't know exactly, but yeah, it's definitely something above 60,000. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're getting a lot of feedback. It's a great place to network. I've learned that LinkedIn honestly is probably my favorite social media site right now, with Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, what was my idea? I understand that it's a business platform, as we spoke, and I kind of was thinking a couple of times, should I express myself with that kind of humor? Maybe for somebody it's funny, it's interesting, and they don't mind, as long as you do the job for them. It's most of the people I send the memes are privately on the people that I work on a daily basis, like brokerage customers. And, everybody needs a little bit of laugh at the end of the day. But I was kind of thinking, should I express myself that way?
Sure.
Over there, and some of the people understand it, some don't, so for somebody it's
Totally.
not funny, somebody don't want to read it, but most of it, when I post some interesting stuff, every time at least 3 to 4 people reach me out regarding a job, or okay, I want to hear more about you. What is your job over there? Do you move trucks? Do you move freight and all that stuff? So, it helped me also build my business side as well, because the followers, as you mentioned it. So
yeah, and like, just you being in Macedonia and I'm in Poland, we're able to create a powerful network of people from America and all around, in the logistics world, which is amazing, especially, like, given the fact that we are in a global economy, the internet and stuff like that. We're just utilizing it. And I think anyone like listening to this podcast should definitely utilize LinkedIn more often. I mean, LinkedIn is extremely powerful.
Yeah, you got a point. You got it right. As we spoke previously, privately, I mean, it's something that makes things a little bit different. So, it's not for us to discuss the same things as the Americans. We don't need to kind of be so much different, but we always have a side talks with the drivers, with our business partners, and all that stuff makes things even more interesting. So they know we are outsourced. Some people like it, some people don't like it, but most of them who like it want to learn more how we do it, and that's why we talk over here,
Definitely. Are most of the drivers that you deal with Macedonian?
No,
No, absolutely not.
I mean, we have like 100 trucks on the road, and we have only one guy who's Macedonian. We have 2 Serbians, and everything else is Americans,
Okay.
So yeah.
And then the language, Macedonian language, is the language very similar to Serbian?
Yeah. Serbian, Bulgarian, Montenegro, as you mentioned, Croatian. It's we can understand each other. Not exactly 100%, but if we spoke, we're gonna understand each other, and that's something that drivers over the road have interest to learn as well. So every time when they call in the morning, okay, how you say good morning on Macedonian? The next day he get out a question, a different question, and that's the interesting thing is every time the relation between dispatcher and driver in America has so much subjects to talk, so it's not just send dispatch information and then you go deliver the load. There is so busy, there are so many conversations, aside job conversation that make this job interesting, and they want to work with us for sure. So
yeah, totally. And then with you being a dispatcher, Boris, I'm wondering what your perspective is on freight brokers. Like, do you work with just like a few brokers that you have good relationships with, or do you just work off DAT?
Me personally, I prefer on a customer freight. I prefer on relations. Since I started, I was trying to build something, and I want to keep it that way. So freight market is changed on a daily basis. So a couple of bucks, maybe it's not going to change if you use somebody who you don't believe, or you might be played out and you need to work extra just to get a job done. So me personally, I'm a guy who prefer to do it with people every day, with the same people over and over again. I got like 5 guys who can cover all my trucks all over. They work
Amazing.
for, yeah, C.H. Robinson, Echo, you know, Kuninagel, like a customer. So all the guys can move our trucks every day. So we give all the credits first on them. And then if they don't find something that we require, we moved on the DAT, which I don't like. I don't like at all.
It just goes to show how important relationships are in this industry. And how you could utilize LinkedIn and just really focusing on that. Like I think a lot of freight brokers, not a lot, but there's a lot of them that struggle with developing relationships, and they just rely on DAT. You know, and the DAT is great when the market is slow because you get cheap trucks on it, right? But overall, it's much better to have a good relationship and have fair rates. So.
It depends the business you run, where you see it. You know, if you wanted to kind of be short and just grab the money and leave, then it's okay to be related on the spot market. But we, as a company, kind of survived in a positive way the pandemic because we had those relationships. You know, those guys never left us hanging. We never struggled to find any loads. Our drivers were never sitting, and we were kind of trying to use DAT. I mean, for sure, we tried a couple of times, like me in Massachusetts, when nobody was giving freight. That's okay. But, you know, all that relationship, we kind of try to teach the guys who is working as well, that it's really, really important, because as you see your chat, you know, DAT falls, 1 hour your chat is blowing up. Everyone is trying to find trucks, trying to find freight, you know, and that's something that we try to avoid. And of course, if you see your business a little bit further, you're going to realize that the relationship is everything.
You know, when you use DAT and you run across a broker that you've never worked with, could you tell us about maybe some bad stories that you've had that have, you know, turned you off on freight brokers?
Of course. I mean, the most often thing that is going on over here, it's happening like literally every single day. They're selling load with missed appointments or false information. So, I mean, that's something that really got me stressed out and kind of motivate me to search for people who are going to be honest 1,000%, and I'm not going to have that kind of headache, because recognizing those informations late burn my time, you know. And like this, when I work with you, if you're my relationship and you send me 5 loads, I can use my time more productively, and I can get more job done. If you give me 1 load that I need to call the shipper, I need to call the receiver, I need to check, is the appointment missed, are there any late fees, and all that stuff, you know, and get the driver stuck. It's kind of happening every day. That's only one thing that happens every day. Give us a freight with missed appointments. What I hate the most is posting a load like within 300 miles away from the original pickup. I mean, come on, what's the deal? You know, there was one meme, I think it was yours, that I'm going to send a Christmas gift to TQL 300 miles away from their office. I don't know. It was.
Oh,
yours.
I think it was Furman.
Maybe. Yeah. So that's something also who is, you know, not giving me the precise information. Me as a dispatcher, I need to give my drivers the right information. I cannot tell him, okay, this picks up, for example, in Chicago, and after that, no, it picks up in Wisconsin. So we want to be 100% precise, and most of the people on DAT kind of try to use different selling points who for me are not making any sense. No.
Yeah. It's because like being a freight broker, and when you're struggling to cover a load, you do anything possible, especially with DAT. You post it everywhere, right? And I understand your frustrations though when you're calling a load and you're figuring out that this is not anywhere close to your truck. But you know what's interesting? This is just a side note. I was once working a Saturday. This was I think 4 years ago. I was working on a Saturday, and I had loads out of St. Louis, Anheuser-Busch loads, beer loads. I was all over. It was like St. Louis to Ohio. And this was when the Dallas market was absolutely like just nothing in Dallas. It was Saturday. Everything was closed. Nothing was shipping out. I posted all the loads out of St. Louis to be out of Dallas, right? Like 800 miles away from St. Louis. My phones blew up. I covered 3 loads out of St. Louis with trucks out of Dallas on a Saturday. And they all picked it up on Sunday because it was 24/7 shipper, and they delivered it on Monday in Ohio. So it's
Yeah,
worked
I
for
mean,
me.
totally understand it. If I was on the position when I have a truck in Dallas and there is no loads, I was gonna post it my truck on empty miles, 500-600, So
Yeah.
that's also something that's gonna work out. It frustrates me because we do a precise operation over here, So
Sure.
we kind of don't send the trucks where the money are all the time, $6,000 too much, it's okay, buddy, you go. So it's not how we do it. We got like a plan, and we need to move customer freight
Yeah.
more than a spot freight. So we know what we're doing, and that's why we need precise information as well as on the weight. Also a lot of people over there on DAT just posted 10,000 pounds, and it's not 10,000 pounds, it's actually 44 or 5, so that's also something that kind of frustrating and make drivers frustrated. They always complain, they spend on fuel and all that stuff, so.
Yeah. Go for it. Sorry.
No. That's
So I was
everything
wondering, I was going to build on the topic of the weight. So like from the drivers that you're managing, like how many of them are picky on the weight in terms like they won't take over 40, they won't take over 35?
I mean, different characters, everybody it's a little bit different, so that's why we got different teams that we put the new drivers that have special requirements in a team that is specialized for one way having nerves to get it done, so there are a lot of guys, nobody want to hold heavy freight. I never met in my life driver who's going to reach me out and tell me, okay, I want to drive only heavyweight, so that's
unless it's in Colorado during the wintertime, mountains, right?
Okay.
Yeah. The one time.
When they need to travel on the way to the west side, that might happen, but we don't operate during the winter too often on I-80, so that doesn't happen. So overall, most of the drivers do want to do heavy freight, and most of the freight that we have, it's not heavy. The pharmaceutical freight, it's only a couple of pallets, like 1 or 2 pallets. It's like sometimes less than 2,000 pounds. We got Amazon Robotics also as a customer freight, who's also never been more than 15,000 pounds, and it's life load, life unload. And that's something that our plan is main center for our plan, and everything that we do aside, we do it just to get those loads done, so.
Sure.
Yeah, so at the end, they don't want to drive heavy loads. They sometimes reject them, but if it pays good money, they sometimes accept it. So you need to describe them the plan, a better way.
Are they mostly owner-operators that you deal with? Yeah,
we got like owner-operators, we got a lease purchase drivers, we got a company drivers, so that's most of them are like owner-operators. We got like maybe 20% company drivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Boris, could you offer some advice to a 20-year-old? Let's say someone just graduated college and they're like, Boris, give me some advice. What would you tell them?
I mean, it depends on that guy wishes, so this job, it's kind of don't leave you too much free time. I'm telling for myself, I don't have too much free time. It's only during the weekends to spend it with my family. So if a college guy want to kind of jump into this, he needs to be prepared. He needs to kind of wait on his moment, and he needs to work hard until he gets where he needs to get. Nothing happens like one day to the next, especially over here in Macedonia. People hear that the salary is kind of a little bit higher than everything else. And when they apply, they always ask, okay, when I'm going to start making these numbers of money or those numbers of money. And as you've been in logistics, this is kind of process. So they need to be patient. Sure. They need to work. They need to listen, and they need to be a team working guys to kind of achieve in this job. So
totally. Yeah. Well, I just want to let the audience know that I'm planning to visit Boris in Macedonia in a few months and to create an actual really cool video of everything that's going on with the dispatching and the country. So that's something I want to throw out there just so that people could be, ready for it. And I do want to start just wrapping things up here, Boris. So like, if you could maybe tell the audience how to reach out to you. Do you want to set up with any new brokers, or are you kind of capped out?
No, I mean, I'm always open. I always respond on LinkedIn. I got like so many messages, but I always try to respond back maybe a couple of days after, like on your freight carrier inbox. I always give people a chance. you know, so I'm open. They can reach me out on LinkedIn anytime. I just need an MC number to check their company. If my factoring company allowed me to do some business with them, and if it fits with our plan, we're always open with the new guys. But, you know, honestly, I prefer like a longer term work. And, you know, I'm not a guy who's gonna do the job with you once and then we're done. Like you and me doing it now. We're doing it now online. The next one, we're going to do it live over here in Macedonia. And the next one, we're going to do it in America. And, you know, that's how I do it. So
I like that. Great stuff. Well, Boris, thank you so much for taking your time to be on the show.
it was my pleasure, Paul. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much for the invite. And I hope we're going to go live next time over here in Macedonia.
We will. We'll definitely go live. And that's a wrap for episode 13. Make sure to connect with Boris on LinkedIn.